Hi, I'm Pastor Sharon Daugherty from Victory Christian Center here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've known Senator Dan and his wife Laura Newberry since 2001 when they first came to our church at Victory. And wonderful couple, wonderful family. They love their family, they love the Lord, and they stand for what is right, and they stand for what will help people. They care about people, and they stand for helping people in our particular state of Oklahoma. When Senator Dan and Laura came to our church, they'd gone through a real difficult test in their life, and it had really caused them to question where they were at that time. But in coming, we encouraged them, and I felt like in my spirit that God was bringing them into a new season, and they knew that. My late husband, he encouraged them in the same thing. And so in that, finding the new direction from where they had been, finding that new direction, God was opening them up to an avenue of ministry, really, that they didn't even consider before that time. And it was through his frustration with where things were going in our country and where things were going in our state that Dan began to get a real burden in his heart for our state and for running in the political arena, in the government arena. And as he came and talked to us about it, he had been in ministry prior to this, but he began to sense this call toward the government area. And so we encouraged him in it. And you know, when Dan made that decision to begin to run for an office, Dan went through some more tests, some difficult times, he and Laura. In fact, in his testimony, he shares how that, you know, there were just different attacks that he went through from the enemy himself, you know. And for instance, he lost his hearing in one of his ears, and he and Laura, they went through a miscarriage, and it was a very difficult time for them. But one thing I'll say about Dan is that he will persevere. And he knew in his heart that God had called him into this arena. And so he and Laura both knew it, and they persevered through the obstacles, through the difficulty, and through the test. And with that, God honored that. And God's hand was upon their lives in stepping into the place that he now, of course, is in that position of senator. And so I can say that they are people who will persevere. They are people who believe that when they've been called by God in an arena, that they are willing to do whatever it takes in order to press through obstacles. And that's really what the word perseverance means. And you know, we need people that will persevere through things that try to oppose us. And when you get in this government arena, what I've noticed is that there's a lot of opposition. And he has faced that, whether it's standing for life and being pro-life, or whether it's in standing for marriage between a man and a woman. Whatever the issue is, Dan is going to stand for what is right and what is going to benefit the people. And he and Laura both stand together. They are a united couple. And they have their children, they love their family. At the same time, they love what they're doing. They love in the fact that they can make a difference in the world around them. And they see that what they do can make a difference. I believe that God calls people in all kinds of arenas of life. And in that calling, then God equips people. God gives a special grace to people in that arena. And I've seen that special grace upon Dan and upon Laura.